Armored Core 6. Bro, what the f?
There's heavy fire coming from up top.
We all know From Software as the company that brought us arguably the greatest open world RPG of all freaking time in Elden Ring, as well as numerous other Souls-like games in the last 10-ish years, on top of the numerous other titles that they published, and maybe we should not be speaking about them because they are horrid. But regardless of their track record, whenever their name is mentioned, it does bring to mind a certain kind of iframe dodging and turtling behind a great shield with a 80 strength build, while laughing at the puny bosses that try their best to take you down. Armored Core as a series started all the way back in 1997, but regardless of us 90s kids being old news by now, AC is one of the oldest running series that From Software has. I think as a matter of fact, it is the oldest ongoing series that From Software has, because who the hell played Kingsfield? Like, what the frig is even Kingsfield, man? Anyway, after an 11-year hiatus, Armored Core released a new game that was, from my understanding, geared towards the more casual player like myself, and I do hope someone corrects me in the comments down below if I'm wrong about this, but as a series, Armored Core has always been more on the hardcore side of things, and that's why it had such a niche following over the years. So after the recent commercial success of the company in Elden Ring, of course, it was nice of them to really go back to their kind of roots, the origins, if you will, and release a sequel or a six sequel? Is it six sequel? What's the sixth game in the series? That's about as much knowledge as you'll get from me on this series because, well, this is my first Armored Core game overall that I played. So without any more fillers, subscribe if you're new and let's get into whatever the f AC6 is and why it should be talked about way more, especially in 2024 and most definitely coming up on 2025.
So exciting.
Now, as for the premise of the story and the plot in general, you are a mercenary with the codename 621, and you start the game off by crash landing into the desolate planet of Rubicon. Now, while this is nothing new or groundbreaking in the form of storytelling, I do appreciate how most From Software games, their character is always like just another guy in the world. It's never like you're destined to be, I mean, you are destined to be the Elden Lord and all of that other stuff, but you're just one more person in a long line of people who are destined for greatness, apparently. But in AC, you're just a merc. You're just a guy who's trying to make a quick, the moolah. Also, man, what a relief it is to actually be able to follow along with the story, am I right? Long gone are the days of overly convoluted stories that require you to just binge watch Vati video on YouTube, man. Admittedly, there are some complexities to the story and the way it has been unfolding so far, but it's been very nice to follow along because there is this constant mystery going around you. But in any case, man, the gameplay is where the meat is at, or the carne, if you will, and boy oh boy, gameplay in this game does not disappoint, let me tell you that. And I do have to say this before anything else is said in this video. I think AC6 has the best action combat in the From Software company history, most likely. I do feel that way. I don't know if you feel the same way, but honestly, I've had, oh my god, let's get into this shit. Now, I know that might come as a surprise to, well, most of you watching this, or at least some of you, but from the way the combat works in this game, it is a breath of freaking fresh air in general, because in combat games nowadays, it's all very different to how it is in AC6, man. It's all about combos, it's all about skills and all of that. But in this, it's just good old-fashioned firepower. If I could describe it in an easier to understand way, it's like a mashup of a Souls-like combat system and a good old-fashioned shoot-'em-up game, because it does get quite hectic. And most of all, it's just fun. Like, to the point where I can't remember the last game where I wanted to replay the arena missions or other missions in general, not just to make a quick buck and upgrade my arsenal of weapons, but also just to lay the frickin' smack down on the poor bots just standing around minding their own business. The mech customization is just the chef's kiss on top of everything that there is in this game, man. Because the amount of options that are on here are just amazing, man. You can really RPG the fuck out of this game by making the exact build that you want. Like maybe a literal tank equipped with a gazillion rockets, man, done. A quadruped floating death machine with 2 miniguns and laser beams as shoulder mounts. Done. You can do it all, man. Maybe you just want to make frickin' Optimus Prime himself. Well, I don't even gotta finish that sentence, but it's like I like my steaks. It is well done. And yes, that's the way I like my meat in my... Oh. I better pause that and just move on to some other things, man. Gameplay wise, you'll be taking on different missions that are either short in length or a full trek across the city. Now, from my experience so far, it can be a bit difficult to gauge what equipment you should be bringing into these missions, and the only way to kind of tell if a mission will take a long period of time is by the amount of money that you get given at the end. Also, maybe another nitpick regarding the choices you can make in this game to influence the ending, which there are multiple of. The choices aren't always so obvious as to who you are actually siding with at any given time, and mistakes can be made if you don't pay enough attention, broski. And knowing me, I already made my mistake earlier on, and I gotta just kind of ride it out and see what happens later on. It would be nice, as you are a mercenary after all, to be able to have some proper intel before missions so you can actually optimize your gear and really wreak some havoc, because you'll be doing a ton of that. That does ultimately bring me to the difficulty in this game, because this is a From Software game after all, so one would expect the difficulty to be up there with the likes of a Souls-like game in general, but this is not the case here, unfortunately, for some. Now, that's not to say there isn't a challenge here, because some of the boss fights so far in my like 10-ish hours of gameplay are very challenging and require me to reassess my tactics and weapons, and also replay some missions. Maybe my opinion on this next point will change over the course of the game, but I would have honestly liked to have some more big boss fights in my run so far, as well as just dogfights in general. Most of the enemies you come across don't really pose a threat to you, and while the dogfights and boss fights in general are absolutely worth experiencing, there aren't too many of them to go about dispatching in the early game. Like I said earlier, man, I've been having a ton of fun just playing this game, going into the arena to either test out a new possible build or just blow off some steam after a long day of IRL work. Now, I am 100% sure that someone by now has found some OP meta build to use and abuse in the game, and while you can go really balls deep into the stats and mech building in general, I like to keep things casual, and I like to make things more fun for myself in a kind of mix and match kind of way, and I just overall made sure that the stats looked even incrementally better than they did before, as well as not be too heavy in general to operate, because like in most games that I play, I always go for the kind of jack of all trades hero. Special builds are probably very useful in the PvP mode as well, that I really haven't touched at all. I don't touch PvP in these kind of games, as well as Souls-like games in general, because man, I'm not that good at games, and I don't like to sweat my balls off playing video games after a long day of doing literally all other stuff in life. I know there is a niche for it and people love that stuff, but it's just not for me personally. Now, as far as performance goes and how the game looks, it's been good so far, man. How refreshing it is to play a game that works and is not laggy as f to get through. And I'm looking at you, Stalker 2, lag of Chernobyl. Now, I do say that, but I did come across some stuttering and like one crash while in the middle of a cutscene, so it's not perfect by any means, but, and this is a rather large double-cheeked but, overall the game runs smoothly. Now, admittedly, it's been out for a year already, so they've already had a bunch of time to kind of fix issues in the game, but overall, now looking at the game, it runs like smooth butter, apart from a few crashes and a few, man, I'm making myself look bad, unreliable at best. And thankfully, the combat in the game, because it's so hectic, the responsiveness and the good performance in the game is a good thing, because it's needed here. That does ultimately bring us to the ever so important rating system. That is something I completely made up and should not really be taken at all serious, but we love to do it here, so we will do it, of course. So if you're new here, I like to rate games on a 3-tier list system of day one buys, maybe waits, or only fans, pun intended. Now, while Armored Core has already been out since last year, like I said already, and the game itself probably will hopefully see a large expansion or story DLC to further suck the life out of all of our wallets, I'd rate this game so far to be a day one buy, my bro chacho, just because of the amount of fun that there is to be had, the performance that is really good in this game, the content that is here, and just, man, guns. So many freaking guns. Gatling guns, rocket launchers. I love it. I love guns. I love guns. I don't love guns that much. Oh my god, that sounds really bad now that I say it like this on YouTube. Man, I gotta be careful with what I say. I love guns in games. Let me put a disclaimer here. Guns in games, not in real life. I've never touched a gun in real life. But at the end of the day, man, if this has been on your list of games that you'd want to play and have been looking at videos online to see if you want to pull the trigger or not, figuratively, of course, again, well, I'm here to tell you to take the shot, not literally, again, in a figurative way. I gotta stop referencing guns, in all honesty. I'm really smashing the ending here and really destroying it, but Armored Core 6, man, man. Fire is Rubiconis. It's just a ton of fun to play, in all honesty. And just talking more about it now makes me want to jump back and finish the game before making my retrospective review on it. And there I'll do more of a kind of deep dive into my likes and dislikes and really go ham on it, because there are no perfect games out there that don't have faults, and it's up to us as the gamer to kind of make the decision for ourselves to either live with the faults and love with them, or just let the game go about its merry way. But at the end of the day, man, what the f do I know, man? I'm just a random gamer on the internet telling you that I like this game, loved it in fact, and would probably like more people to talk about it, and hopefully you would like it too. So check it out if you're interested, man. I've been your broski. I don't really know how to end this video, man. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to click that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel Lozo. We are on the way to 1K. We're making it very soon. I had this feeling that we're making it very soon to 1K. So let's get there, man. Let's get monetized. Get those cents into my bank account, like 2 cents. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you're from, whichever time of day you watch this ad. I've been your broski. Enjoy this meme in the outro that I put while editing this video, man. If you want to watch more rambling of myself and my face, click this link right here. Click that link right there. Oh, it's been a long day, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Keep on trucking my broskis. Peace.
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.